Well, hello and welcome to Yellow Flag FPL, the podcast where all of our opinions should be yellow flagged. And we're on part 3, Stephen, of our final pre-season pod before the season kicks off. I'm very excited. I've been tinkering with my team way too much. My mother always told me don't play with yourself too much, but I never listened. But Stephen,
Barry, we need to keep our PG rating, so be a
PG
bit
ratings
careful
are there. It's fine. It's fine. This is suitable for kids. Don't worry about it, kids. But no, let's talk some forwards. And there is obviously, we said in one of the earlier pods, not the greatest depth of forwards, I'd say.
Yeah.
But there are some interesting ones, and they're all priced pretty well, I think. So, Stephen, why don't you kick us off with your ones that you find interesting for this season?
Yeah. So let's not fuck about. It's Erling Haaland. I'm on the train of Haaland over Salah. Just as a bit of a broader point, I think you can have a Haaland Salah team. Given that there's two wild cards, and there's more free hits and there's the AFCON five transfers. Sorry, there's always been two wild cards, but the AFCON 5 transfers and more chips, blah 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 blah. I don't think it's that difficult if Haaland and Salah start going ridiculous to wild card and get them both in. I've done a draft for both of them. It's not that difficult. But why am I going Haaland over Salah? One is the fact that there is lack of forward options. The main reason though is Man City, I think, are getting pretty good this season. They're annoyingly might challenge for the Premier League again. They seem to have made some interesting signings. But as mentioned, I just don't know who's going to be the other 10 players around them. The only player who is guaranteed is Haaland. Haaland, when he plays, he just scores. He just does. He gets so many It doesn't get the what he gets mainly braces and hat tricks. Like, he didn't have his best season last season because Man City weren't as good, but he was also injured quite a lot of it as well. I think he's being criminally overlooked. He's only 22% owned. I know he's 14 million, but he's just such a goal machine. FPL, even with DEFCONs, even with everything else, is about goals. Erling Haaland, I think, has been criminally overlooked, and I think he's going to do it very well this season.
Yeah, but do you think he's actually going to warrant that price, right? Because he's going to have to score the same level as Salah, and I just don't see that happening at all.
I think he's going to be the Golden Boot winner. Now, the problem is forwards get less points for goals than mid. I think he will be, but the problem is that midfielders get more points for goals than strikers do. Haaland's also just goals. He rarely gets assists. He is very much just that, whereas Salah, and Salah, to be fair, doesn't get that many assists, but he gets more than Haaland does. I just think with Liverpool as well, you can cover a bit with Wirtz. I think Liverpool, even with all their signings, I think there's a risk actually that they've signed too many especially if they get Isak, which we can probably talk about. I mean, we can talk about Isak now. Actually, I think Isak is gone. I think most people have seen the leak from Ornstein saying Isak won't play for Newcastle anymore. And why do I think that's important? Ornstein gets most of his information from football clubs. Romano gets most of his information from agents. So what does that mean? It means that it's highly likely that the leak was Newcastle. Now, you would know why the player or the agent would leak it. It's just, to try to do one last thing to get them to move. It doesn't seem to be from Isak's camp. It seems to be from Newcastle. Why have Newcastle leaked it? Softening the fans up for the sale. I mean, maybe you can remind me. Did Harry Kane say he wouldn't play for Tottenham again? I don't think so. I don't think he got that far down the line. Even when Odin Wingy showed up in a QPR car park, I don't even think even he went that far. That's a big statement. I will never set foot on the pitch for Newcastle again. And if you as much as I love laughing at Newcastle, if you look at it from a pragmatic perspective, 110 million for a man who's made out of glass is tempting. He's probably causing disruption in the dressing room. I can see why Newcastle FC want to get rid of him. I understand why the fans don't. But if you look at it from a financial perspective, what's Isak going to do for Newcastle next season? Get them from 7th to 6th, maybe? They're not going to do that one in the Champions League. Is Isak on his own going to generate 110 million revenue for Newcastle based on Champions League places or Premier League places and European qualification? No. So I think Isak's gone. I think Isak has gone to Liverpool.
And
And
I
then
assume
that means,
I assume that means he's in a void, or is he a buy?
well, what it does mean is, in terms of Salah, is Salah's got to now completely change who he is. Like Salah worked best with a Bobby Firmino, a false nine, main man. He's not anymore. Like he's gonna be competing with all these new signings, and I think Salah for the first time is actually going to be going into a very different situation. Haaland is not changing. He's very much like, I have one touch and I score. I have one touch and I score. I have one touch and I score. He isn't going to change anything. Salah, there is a risk that he's going to have to adapt his game to fit into the rest of the system, basically. So that's why I've gone for Haaland over Salah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Bournemouth with no defence, and Salah, I'm worried. I'm not going to watch the first game on a Friday night comfortably, but I think for a few reasons, Haaland's the one, and that's why I'm going for Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I actually don't think Isak's gone, to be honest. I think he's going to stay. I think that there's no point Liverpool buying him as well. They're going to have to spend 150 million to let him go. I
don't think they will. I think he'll go.
They've already
now
signed They've already signed Ekitike.
I think Newcastle and Liverpool have been in touch already, and I think it's going to be around the 110 mark. I honestly think Newcastle FC have made their peace with it, and I think it won't be the price that Newcastle fans want, but it'll still be over 100 mil.
But they've already got Ekitike, so why would they sign another striker?
They bid 110 million for Isak when they already had Ekitike.
Because they thought there was an opportunity to get him, but then Newcastle went back and said, no, you need 150. It's just not going to happen. I'm certain of it. It's not going to happen. I think that it is an interesting point to say whether Liverpool are going to be, Salah is going to be less important and therefore is going to have less chances to score, and whether he makes him less much of an asset. Very interesting. But yeah, I mean, if I could get Haaland and Salah in, I probably would, but I like the balance of the team around the rest of it. So yeah, he's not in my avoid or in my buy, to be honest. He's kind of in no man's land for me. I actually like the idea of João Pedro, 7.5. You know, he came from the beach to the Club World Cup and scored 3 goals, including in the final. He's a cheap way into Chelsea's attack, and I think he'll be pretty decent. He is 53% owned though, 10 goals, 6 assists in 27 games last season. Chelsea have a really good start, and we talked about this, right? In the first 15 games, they only play 3 of the top 7 of last season. So they've actually got a pretty good start. So I'm going to double up. I'm tripling up at the moment, but I think doubling up in attack is definitely worthwhile.
João Pedro is another player who really concerns me that I don't have him. I'm put off with him because, one, I sort of hope that Palmer covers him, but 2, probably convincing myself a bit too much that Chelsea are going to be tired. But yeah, he's a fear. He's at 7.5 is a very good price. Jackson looks to be gone as well, so don't think he has any competition for. Yeah, but I mean, by the sounds of things, even if João Pedro. Either way, I think João Pedro is going to get a lot more minutes than people realise. So no, he's definitely a concern for me. So your front line is João Pedro and who else?
I've got João Pedro, Watkins, and Evan Nielsen is my 3.
Okay. So I was going to say Watkins is also on my side. So again, we've talked about Villa, great start, great player. That's sort of straightforward. But Evan Nielsen, that I'm confused by.
So it's for the bench booster game week 2. I think Evan Nielsen had a good start last season. Club played okay, got some few goals. He's still got Cliver and Semenyo around him and Dango there. So I still think he'll get chances to score goals. Bournemouth's problem will be defence, not attack. Their attack is still pretty put together. So yeah, I rate him. But he's not in my 2 good or my 3 good forwards that I was going to mention, because I wanted to mention players that I'm interested in. So the other 2 are Mateta, assuming Eze stays, which looks like he will do. He's got 14 goals, 2 assists in 33 starts. 6.2% owned, which I think is surprisingly low, but then when you think about the tough start they have and Europe, minutes could be tough later, but we all know he can score or create in any game. He's got an absolute weapon of a foot. So I think Mateta's definitely interesting at 7.5. And Beto of Everton, 5.5. And he scored 8 goals last season. He was the bane of my life in FPL. I don't understand why he's so cheap. He was class. 11.3% owned. I know they've signed this kid called Barry, I believe. But, you know, and he's 6 million actually. He's more expensive than Beto. But Beto's surely got to start. So, yeah, I think they're both worth a look.
I've 3 words for you on Beto. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin also went on a decent run for Everton, and that's all it was. Beto is one of the least technically gifted players I think the Premier League has ever seen.
That's
and I think
really harsh.
Yeah, I mean, he does not pass the eye test at all. I don't know anything about this Barry guy either, but the fact that they've signed him for relatively decent money, you would assume he would be in the team pretty soon. Maybe not game week 1, but
yeah.
Also, again, with it's Moyes. You know, the reason why West Ham didn't like Moyes despite him winning and getting trophies is that West Ham want to get relegated playing good football. That's what they got for Potter. You know, each to their own. But Moyes, even with Grealish, even with Njai, who are very good, technically gifted players, they're not going to be bombing forward a lot, and that means Beto isn't going to get a lot of chances. He's going to be very much a Moyes number 9, lump it forward, knock it down, and pass it around. That's just how Moyes likes it. So, even if I thought Beto was like a brilliant striker, in a Moyes system. Everton as well. What are Everton's ambitions this season? Their fans are a bit hard to read. They seem to be unhappy no matter what. So I don't know really what they're expecting. But
I think they just want their team to try and be challenging, and maybe they want to get back to a position where they were challenging for Europe. You never know with Moyes. But I have to say that the Everton away this season will be a tough fixture for every team. It will not be 3 points at all. But yeah, who are your 3 avoid strikers for the season?
Well, I'll finish off my ones that I want first. So Watkins is one of them. Yeah. I haven't got him in my team yet because I have somebody else in my team who I know Barry's going to love this one, and that is Gyökeres. So let me tell you why. So I've just been on holiday in Portugal. Those who accuse me of being a casual manager, of FPL manager, it just couldn't be further from the truth. When I was out there, I did some research on him. I went to the Portuguese and said, obviously got a lot of goals, you guys, in that league last season, but it's a farmers' league. How do you think he'll do in the Premier League? I may have put it a bit more diplomatic than that when talking to the Portuguese directly, but either way, that was my gist. And to be fair, they were pretty honest about that. So, do you know what the European Golden Shoe is? I'd never heard of this.
No, not.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, literally never heard of it. So the European Golden Shoe is the European Golden Boot, but they correlate it based on how difficult the league is. So Gyökeres got the most goals in the European leagues last season, but because it's the Portuguese league, they counted less than the Liga. So Mbappe won it. So yeah, so
yeah,
so Mbappe, yeah, fair enough.
It seems a little harsh, but I kind of get it.
Yeah, but I literally never heard of it, so I learned a few things out there. But either way, the Portuguese, look, we know the Premier and the Premier League, very, very, very different leagues. And they also admitted that he is not Erling Haaland, he is not tier 1. But I would say the overall feedback is that he's A-. An A- for Arsenal, and a good Arsenal team, is a pretty good threat, let's be frank here. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to work very well with Odegaard. I think he's going to give us a higher line. I think that also means that someone we haven't spoken about is Saka, actually. Didn't have the best season last season. He was injured a lot. But if Gyökeres is stretching defences more, it gives Saka more space. But I don't want to go into that too much. But either way, Gyökeres is going to get a lot of goals. He's not going to be the golden boot. But he's going to do pretty well. I've got him in for my first 2 game weeks. My early plan is he'll get a hat-trick against Man U. Hopefully 4 goals against Leeds. Actually, I'm being very harsh on Leeds. 2 goals against Leeds, hat-trick against Man U. That's probably about, on balance, a bit fairer. And then bring Watkins in after that. Yeah. Watkins has, I can't remember who Villa have. They've Brentford away, but then after that, Villa's run is really kind. So that's my quick transfer strategy. But Gyökeres is going to do well at Arsenal. Yeah, I think he's just going to score. He's just going to score. But Barry, I can tell by your face that you have many counter arguments here. So please do go on.
Look. Maybe it's just I'm an optimistic Spurs fan. But look, you have to give him at least a couple of weeks to bed in, right? There's just too many uncertainties, I think, for me. I know it was pre-season, but in the Spurs game, he had two touches in 14 minutes. Like, I am pretty confident that Havertz will start away at Man United over Gyökeres. Okay. Because Havertz is so important to how Arteta wants to play the game. Whether that's right or wrong, I'll leave your Arsenal fans to argue about. But, Kai Havertz is 7.5. Gyökeres is 9. I would rather Havertz, to be honest, in my FPL team out of the two. I think that Havertz will step it up because he knows his place is up for grabs. He knows he's going to be under threat. And I just think with all of those things sort of in the mix, maybe Arteta will look at that and go, hey, look, my boy Kai is doing bits, so I'm going to start him because he's gone away and really worked on himself. So I'm avoiding Gyökeres. I do have Watkins, so that's the same price point, so I can go across if he suddenly goes off. But yeah, I just think that there's too many uncertainties there.
Just to come back on that, and I hear you. Kai is Arteta's boy, but Arteta has two options this season. I said it last season, and I'm surprised it didn't go through. But this season, it's absolute. It is that black and white now. If you look at Arsenal Twitter, and the pendulum has swung now. The pendulum is really swinging against him, and Arteta knows that. Well, the clamour for a number 9, he's got one. He surely isn't that naive. I actually think him and Pep spend the most amount of time on football Twitter out of any of the Premier League managers, actually. I mean, I think Arteta's like moaning about the refs all the time. He doesn't actually believe a word that he says there. He just does it because it gets him some favour with the fans. Wrongly, in my opinion, but anyway. He cannot not start Gyökeres. That is too high a risk. If he starts Havertz and we lose that game, or even draw, but definitely if we lose, he's gone. It's unrecoverable that season.
Yeah, I don't think he will be gone. That's the thing. It will definitely dictate the narrative, like who does he play and when. But I think that he will do what he will want to do, regardless of what everyone was saying to do, and he'll get nonsense for it, and it'll be fun to watch, and I can't wait.
I think this idea that Arteta is like, this strong man or whatever, when the pressure's on, he's caved pretty quickly. Like Havertz, he moved and dropped around. Havertz, remember he signed Havertz originally to play in midfield. He changed that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I know.
Also, just so there's probably just a very simple point to round this off. Havertz was injured for a lot of last season. It's not like not like Havertz is there ready to go. Like he's only just come back himself. So just from a pure fitness perspective, Havertz is risky. I mean, maybe as an Arsenal fan, I've convinced myself, but surely Gyökeres starts. Surely Gyökeres starts against two toilet teams from the north of England.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, are you sure of that? Are you sure that Arteta's
I'm very sure.
No one is. Like, he thinks about things so much. He's such a interesting manager in a lot of ways, but he also is probably like too particular in terms of how he approaches the game and all the rest of it. But I think he's going to overthink it. He's not going to start him. But
he is Pep's cone boy. Like father, like son, I guess. But,
wow.
No, Gyökeres is in my team, but again, I'm also looking to transfer him out in game week 3 because Arsenal go to Anfield, and then a Forest, Man City, Newcastle. But for the first 2 game weeks, as I'm pretty sure he's going to start against Man U and Leeds, and then I'll get Watkins in. My other striker is Barry. You'll be pleased to say I've listened to you. It's the I'm not going to try to butcher his name, but the Brighton striker that they've signed, the Greek guy.
Kostanolos.
But it's a bit of a yes, it's a bit of a punt because Danny Welbeck is probably going to start game week 1, but he's 5 billion. This lad, I think he's going to be Brighton's striker as the season goes on. They've got Fulham at home. Brighton have a decent start. I've also got Matoma in my team as well. We'll post our teams on Insta, Twitter, etc. But yeah, he's my sort of final player, mainly because the Sunderland guy, I don't think is going to start, and he's also injured. So I just need a cheap enabler there up top.
Yeah, no, I think he's class. They signed him for 30 million. He got 7 goals, 2 assists rather, for Olympiacos last season. But let's be real, Brighton won't spend £30 million on a teenager unless he's actually going to play. So yeah, I rate him. I do have one other player to talk about that I want to avoid. Again, continues my dislike of Nottingham Forest, but it's Chris Wood.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you some more stats, right? So he scored 20 goals and 3 assists last season. He had an XG of 13 and an XA of 1, right? That means he overperformed by 7 goals and 2 assists. This is what I'm saying. Nottingham Forest were massively overperforming last season. And they can't keep it up, particularly when they've got a nutter running the club who comes on and shouts at the manager, right? He's 16.2% owned. They have Europe. They've lost Alanga as well, which I think has been underplayed. I don't think many people think about that.
I agree with you there. I agree with you there.
Like, he was a class player, and he created a lot of problems on that flank, which then created more space in the middle. Yes, they've kept Morgan Gibbs-White by cheating, but they still have lost a very dynamic player on one side, so I think that's going to affect him. They could have a similar season to Burnley. You remember when Burnley got into the Europa League, and then they finished 16th the following season? The squad depth just isn't there, and he was so lucky with injuries last season as well. Like, he played every game pretty much and got no injuries throughout that time. And I mean, to continue that is insane. So yeah, I think that Chris Wood is an avoid for me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to mention DCL again, so I'll mention Michu instead. He's had his moment in the sun, and he also just looks so happy that he had that season. I've never seen a player look so happy to have a season that he did. It did fill my heart with joy at times, but yes, I agree. It's he's not doing it again.
Fair enough. Well, I have 2 more players to talk about in my watch list, and these are players I haven't really put in the good or bad, but I think they're worth considering. You've got Thiago at Brentford, and I think he probably is going to play a bit more now that obviously Mbeumo's gone. But if Wissa goes as well, I think he's going to be their number 9. He's 6 million, 1.2% owned, scored a few goals last season and assists off the bench. He looks pretty dynamic, he's pretty young as well, so I think he's definitely interesting, despite your anti-Brentford eulogy you gave earlier. Mind you, maybe this is going to be a thing. You're going to be anti-Brentford, I'm going to be anti-Forest all season. That should be fun. And then the last player I want to note is another Man United player. They're getting a lot of mentions on this pod, and that is Sesko. So they finally landed him. 7.5 million is a very, very interesting
It's annoyingly
price.
tempting.
It is.
It's annoyingly
tempting.
tempting.
If he gets off to a good start, what's to stop you having him in your team? Because I think he's more likely to start than Gyökeres.
Where does he play for? That's what stops me. Another promising young career ruined, I think, unfortunately. There, it's a shame. He needs a new agent. He's an idiot. Like, he's an absolute moron, to be fair, Kate. But anyway, I just want to do one quick avoid as well, because he's in a lot of teams. Great player, but that's Jared Bowen. Again, I think a lot of people have been sucked in because they've got Sunderland first, but after that they have Chelsea at home, Forest away, Tottenham at home. Like, it's not a great start. He's 8 million and he's a forward. I know there's not many options, but I think a lot of people are basically hoping he's going to get a hat-trick against Sunderland the first day of the season, which I just don't think it's going to happen. Maybe it does, and if it does, fair play to those people, but I think West Ham are going to be in big trouble this season, and I think they're going to lose that game. Sunderland have made good signings, and as you said, Samuel Light is going to be rocking that game. I don't understand. Yeah. I think people have just looked at game week 1 and then not looked past that. I think with Burton's ownership, so he's an avoid, not just game week 1, but yeah. But for me, he's an avoid. Well, actually, loads of other FPL content people have him as well. Again, he's a brilliant player. I mean, no doubting his ability, but West Ham are just not going to be good this season, and I think I agree with you. Sunderland's a real banana skin.
Yeah, and 8 million's not that expensive. I think it's a really good price. I did start with him in the
relegation forwards.
Yeah, but it means everything's going to go for him, and I think he's got a good chance of scoring lots of goals. And Sunderland are a new team. Maybe the occasion will get the better of them, and they will struggle. I don't know, but
yeah, true.
all will be revealed relatively soon, Stephen, because it is T-minus 3 days to the Premier League kicking off. I am very excited, Stephen. I'm getting very excited with this. Cool. So yeah, we can wrap it up there. That is end of part 3. There we go. Thank you for sticking with us. We hope we've given you some ideas for what to do, and probably some ideas not what not to do as well. Yeah, so please give us a like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We won't do another pod before the beginning of the season, so best of luck to you all. Remember, it's just a game. Have some fun with it. Please share your drafts with us, and we can give you a rating. That would be fun. And we will catch up with you next week after the first game week is over. So, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.